guys, and welcome back to my channel. So the MAC videos have been doing really well. Thank you guys so much for all your support on the videos. And because they were doing so well, I really wanted to do something else to do with MAC, and I thought it would be a really cool idea for me to try out all the MAC foundations, bring together my review of the foundations, the textures, what I like, what I don't like, just so I can kind of give you guys an idea of what MAC foundation is best suited to your skin type and your skin concerns. I have got a bunch of MAC foundations with me right now. I will list all of them in the description box below so you guys know what to kind of look out for. So yeah, I'm gonna remove my face makeup and let's get started. So to test out these foundations, I'm gonna go in completely without primer, anything underneath the skin, just so I can show you guys, or rather share with you guys, how the foundation feels on its own. First up is the Pro Longwear foundation. Oh, this is a really full coverage foundation and it looks beautiful on the skin. It does look pretty amazing on the skin. I've actually never tried Pro Longwear before and I am very impressed. I'm gonna put on a tiny bit of concealer just so you guys can see the final effect. This is the Tarte Shape Tape. I am already really impressed with this foundation. I mean, I've got a whole bunch of scarring over here, a zit over here, really old and very dark scars right down here, but the foundation has managed to cover all of it. I'm very happy with the finish as well. It's really nice and glowy without being too kind of oily looking. It's something that I really have to look out for because I live in a country like Malaysia. If you get something that's too dewy looking, it does show up really kind of oily in person and on camera. So this is the finished look for the foundation. I didn't powder it, I just put on a tiny bit of blush just to kind of show you guys what it really looks like in real life after makeup. I really like this foundation. It covers very, very well. It looks really good on the skin. It's pretty full on, so if you're the type who is looking for a natural look, then this is definitely not for you. On to foundation number 2. This is the Pro Longwear Waterproof. I wanted to try this one right after the Pro Longwear, so whoa! Let's pretend that didn't happen. I wanted to do this one right after the Pro Longwear, so I have the Pro Longwear kind of etched in my memory so I can compare the two for you. Off the bat, it is definitely a lot more lightweight, much thinner kind of texture with still the same kind of full coverage. So overall, I think I prefer this foundation a tiny bit to the Pro Longwear just because it's a little bit drier and I prefer that kind of foundation for the weather. This one is perfect for kind of tropical country. If you're going on beach vacation, this would be a really good one to take with you. Plus, the packaging is really compact and easy to carry around with you. So this is what it looks like finished up. I really like the finish. It is, I think, more or less the same as the Pro Longwear that I reviewed right before this. It is a tiny bit drier, so watch out for that if you've got kind of dehydrated skin. But if you've got oily skin, I mean, you can throw this on. It probably won't show oil until much later in the day. It looks really good. The coverage is amazing. I also really like the fact that it's waterproof. In fact, it's been mentioned in a bunch of articles as one of the top performers in terms of waterproof foundation. Between this one and the Pro Longwear, I think I prefer this one a tiny bit more just because it is a little bit drier, it's waterproof, and I really like that in a foundation, and it feels nice and light on my skin, whereas the Pro Longwear feels a little bit heavier. On to the next one. Okay, I'm gonna do Studio Fix. This is also another one of those that a lot of people like. One thing I find a bit weird though is the fact that they don't have a pump. Ooh, okay, this one is definitely a lot lighter than the Pro Longwears. It's got slightly less coverage, but still good, so I would say a medium coverage. It smells like my art class, which I actually really like. This is just one light layer. It's got kind of a medium coverage, but already I'm actually really happy with it. The other two were pretty heavy coverage, and while I like that as well, I also feel like my skin shows a little bit more in this one. It's got a very watery kind of texture, whereas the other two were kind of creamy textured. I would say this kind of watery texture is actually very suited to oily skins. It's very lightweight and it feels really nice on the skin without being too heavy. If you have dry skin and you need something a bit more kind of moisturizing, I would definitely suggest getting a good primer to put underneath. As with a lot of MAC foundations that I've tried, the coverage is pretty great. Not as amazing as the Pro Longwear, but definitely still up there. Okay, next to nothing. This is one that I've reviewed before. I'm sure you guys remember. This one is definitely my skin color because I bought this by myself. I've already got a very in-depth review of the Next to Nothing face color in another video, so I'm gonna link it down in the description box below. So this is the dewiest and most natural finish foundation that I have so far. It is really nice on the skin. It makes your skin look very glowy and healthy. I do have some concerns, as I mentioned in my previous video, about its staying power in Malaysian heat and just how well your skin can handle the oil if you are someone with an oily skin. If you've got acne scars, you're gonna need a lot more than one layer of this foundation to cover it up. I have used a very thick layer. It does feel a little bit sticky on the skin because I've used so much. So if you're going to go for something that's going to help you cover up your imperfection, I would definitely suggest trying a different foundation. All three of the foundations that I tried earlier all have much better coverage than this one. I do admit that this one goes on really beautifully underneath the foundation. So if you're looking for a primer and if you're not someone with overly oily skin, you definitely should check the Next to Nothing face color out because it really does kind of blur imperfections and make your skin look very filtered and just perfected. Last but not least, I'm going in with the Matchmaster foundation. Okay, this foundation is pretty lightweight. It's not as lightweight as the Studio Fix Fluid, but it is a lot lighter than the Pro Longwear. The only thing I would have to say about it is that the Pro Longwear gives you a much more perfected finish. This would definitely be suited to people with, I guess, slightly drier skin. If you've got pretty oily skin, again, it might be a little bit thick and a little bit oily on you, but when I come across a foundation that gives me a really nice finish, but it might be a little bit oily for my skin, I usually just throw down a mattifying primer underneath and then I put the foundation on top and it goes on really nicely, and the mattifying primer keeps the oil away. So I have gone and tried 5 of MAC's most popular foundations. I've reviewed them on camera and showed the application on camera as well for you guys. Now it's time for a little summary of what I thought. I'm going to tell you guys what the foundations are best for in terms of skin concerns. Obviously I can't cover all of the skin concerns, only the ones that are most popular or most common. So if you've got any further questions about the foundations at all, just leave them down in the comments box below and I will get to you guys as soon as I can. Now my favorite by far is still the Next to Nothing face color. It is a very unexpected winner for me because I don't like light and barely there coverage foundations. I really prefer a more full coverage foundation. So with this one, the reason why I like it so much is because as I am aging, I am seeing a lot of imperfections in my skin. I'm seeing that I need something that kind of blurs out the fine lines in my skin, blurs out the imperfections, makes my skin look a lot more dewy and healthy and glowy and luminous. So this one is a really great one for that. If you are somebody who is facing aging just the way I am, then this one will go great as an under foundation primer. It just takes away that kind of dullness that comes with slightly dehydrated and dry skin and gives you such an amazing, beautiful, luminous finish. In terms of coverage, the Pro Longwear wins out by far. It's got a really nice creamy texture. It's gonna hide any kind of imperfection you throw at it. It's very high coverage and very perfecting on the skin. It's got a very similar effect to the Next to Nothing face color. It's just a very pretty foundation. Compared to the Pro Longwear waterproof, I would definitely suggest the waterproof for a more oily skinned person or for someone who's going to the beach, obviously, because waterproof, hey. With the Pro Longwear, it's a really great foundation in that it's creamy and yet it gives you a semi-matte finish. So both people with dehydrated skin and people with oily skin can benefit from this foundation, as well as this one. They both do kind of the same thing. If you've got slightly drier skin, I would recommend this one a little bit more because this one is slightly drying. My second favorite would most likely be the Studio Fix Fluid. I really like this one because it's lightweight. It's got a really nice watery texture, which I like personally. The coverage is not as amazing. Again, I don't know why I am choosing the lower coverage foundations as some of my favorites, but this one just does a really good job. It's lightweight. It feels like you're not really wearing anything. It feels really comfortable on the skin. I just like lighter foundations nowadays, especially since, as I mentioned before, as you age, your skin gets a bit drier, and with dry skin, makeup tends to cake a lot more easily. So you always want to look for light coverage foundations, light textured foundations, and very moisturizing foundations that are slightly emollient so they don't just dry down and cake down onto your skin. So this one is really great for anyone who's got dry skin or anyone who is fighting father time. I say that on all my videos nowadays. We are all waging war against father time. So little tip from me to you guys who are kind of the same age. Matchmaster. Now Matchmaster is very creamy. So if you've got oily skin, this probably isn't one of the best. I do like the finish of it. It's the one that I'm wearing on my skin right now. The finish is really nice, very kind of perfected. All of the MAC foundations have that kind of perfected finish, which I really like. The least perfected finish, if you guys want to know, is actually Studio Fix Fluid. The most, next to nothing, underneath the foundation, followed by the Pro Longwear, and then the Matchmaster, and then the Pro Longwear Waterproof. I hope you guys understood what I just did there. No, I'm sure you guys understand. I don't know why I'm trying to repeat myself. So for those of you guys who have acne, it depends on what kind of acne you have. If you have those small bumps all over your skin that kind of don't come out and become one of those big cysts, then I would suggest the Pro Longwear Waterproof. First of all, you probably have oily skin and this one counters that really well. But if you've got those kind of larger cysts the way I get them, they're really big, they come out to head and then they dry down and they get really kind of crusty. I don't want to use the word, but that's kind of the best way to describe them. They do get a bit crusty. I would suggest a more moisturizing foundation. So the Pro Longwear or the Matchmaster are both great ones. They both reduce the appearance of that crustiness and that unevenness in the skin that you get whenever you get a dried down pimple. Both of these are really great. Matchmaster is a bit more creamy. Pro Longwear is a tiny bit more lightweight than the Matchmaster. So it's really up to you to decide which one you feel like is best for your skin type. And that kind of concludes my overall review of the 5 most popular MAC foundations. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video and found something helpful. If you have any questions at all that I didn't cover in the video, please leave them down in the comments box below. I will get back to you as soon as I can. You can send me an Instagram DM, you can send me a Facebook message. My socials are all listed right here as well as in the description box below. So yeah, that concludes the video. Thank you guys so much for watching and I really hope I'm gonna see you in my next video. Bye! My skin is literally crying for help right now. Look at how red it is. Things I do for you guys. Ooh, mama.